Hey everybody, Tom here for another episode of Practicing My Way Back. And the title of this week's episode is Surprise, Surprise, Surprise. If anybody remembers Gomer Pyle, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't remember that, it doesn't matter. So I had a second stroke last week, which was a bit of a surprise. Smaller in the same spot. Wound up going into the hospital for 4 days, getting poked and prodded and being bored largely. But I'm back. I feel good. And I guess what I'm thinking about now is, okay, so we've had the second event, which has interrupted my practicing and my progress of the first event, and how I'm dealing with that. And what that's got me thinking about is what I can do versus what I can't do. Because, you have these things happen and you tend to focus on the things you can't do rather than what you can do, right? So for me, what I can't do is I can't move the right hand as quickly as I used to. I don't have the dexterity or the coordination. I'm gonna build that back slowly. But this gets into the larger area of education. One of the ways that we don't do a good job as educators is that we tend to apply what's called deficit-based learning. Okay, we focus on what's wrong rather than what's right. And I think when you're to really learn, you need to have both of those. You can't ignore what you can't do necessarily, obviously, but you can't exclusively focus on that. And what I'm taking away, because I've had this interruption to my time, what I'm taking away from this is I need to maybe focus a little bit more on what I can do to help ballast what I can't do. In fact, those two things can work together, and I'll show you what I mean. I have this piece somewhere here that I'm working on. Okay. This is a Hungarian composer. I think I've mentioned this to at least one of you. One of my favorite composers, a modern composer. So the piece that we're working on here, or what I was working on, has a very fast left-hand part, which is actually good for me, right? Because that's not where I'm experiencing the deficit. It's basically, it's just... And it goes on and on and on and on. And there comes a point at the end of the piece where the right hand takes that part over. Now I have this deficit in my right hand. So obviously I can't do it as quickly as the left hand. So here's what I do. I work on this at a particular tempo. And I work in the right hand at half the tempo. So there's a relationship there. That's one thing that's one way you can do. Maybe if I put the metronome on, you'll hear it a little more exactly. Let's. So this is a good way to combine deficit learning with perfecting what you already know. That's one thing you can do. Another thing is I'm an improviser, right? So I can pick a tune like Miles Davis's Flamingo Sketches. Allow myself to work my right hand really simply, and it gives me a chance to practice without having the pressure of having to make everything perfect, which is really important for your confidence. In the email that I sent out with this, I'll send a little transcription of this particular tune with the particular kind of scales that you can use over those chords. So basically just playing these simple harmonies and playing simple lines next to it. A very low pressure, but incredibly rewarding situation. It's good because it focuses here more than anything else. You know, you forget about this. Okay, there's deficiencies with this business, not here. So that's what I mean. And you can, you know, what I would say to you as students is to take a look at what you have difficulty with. You write that down. Take a look at what you do really well. You write that down. And make sure that you're bouncing back and forth between these two and you're focusing equally on them. And using your creativity to develop ways to use what you're good at to help you deal with what you're not so good at. So, which leads me to the second thing that we don't do well as educators. I can't say this for MCMA because I don't think this is us at all, but as many of you know, in the public school system and even in the private school system, we have turned to a style of education that relies on rote memorization and spitting back information rather than being creative and innovating. So what I'm saying to you is take what you're good at and find a clever way to train yourself with what you're not good at. Because that's the heart of learning, is teaching yourself. It's not spitting stuff back so you can pass the test and get on to the next grade, although that's what we do in this culture. What true learning is solving a problem on your own, is developing experience and solving a problem on your own. And that means making mistakes. And that means being okay with making mistakes, because that's what's going to direct you through this thing. Anyway, that's what I have for you this week. Work hard, have fun, and I'll see you next time.